This video is gonna ruffle some feathers. Now, here's the age-old battle. The MacBook Air, one of the best-selling laptops in the world. Is there a competition from Windows side? Because if you don't like macOS, you probably don't have a choice or haven't had a choice from Windows, if you know what I mean. This over here is the Asus Zenbook A14. Okay, let's get this out of the way first. It is a MacBook Air killer. Ooh, can you feel those feathers going? Woo! So if you thought shopping for a budget laptop for roughly around $900 or $1,000 mark is simple because you go with the MacBook Air, let me make it a bit more complicated for you. I asked you guys, would you choose the MacBook Air or the Zenbook A14? And as you can see, most people would go with the MacBook Air. But at the same time, there is a big chunk of people who would choose the A14. And you might be saying, what the heck is A14? Zenbook, what are we talking about over here? I was thinking the same thing. I was looking at these things online, on paper. The comparison looks like MacBook is better until I started using this guy. And then I realized, wait a second. This doesn't portray the specs, what you see on the paper, what the user experience is actually. Here's 9 reasons why this actually is absolutely genius what Asus is doing here. Asus looked at what Apple MacBook Air has done, looked at and listed every single downside and thought, okay, how can we make a product that meets and surpasses every single one of those downsides? Number 1, price. If it's not compatible with the budget, come on, what we're talking about over here. This guy, same price, depends if you find it on a deal. Right now, I can see this on a deal, but then at the same time, MacBook Air is on a deal as well. So check out the latest pricing in the video description below if you want to see which one is cheaper at the time of you watching this video. Secondly, lighter. In fact, it's quite a bit lighter. The MacBook Air against this guy is heavy. This is one of the lightest laptops that I have ever held. This is less than 1 kilogram. It's so light, it almost feels like something's missing. It still features massively bigger battery than the MacBook Air. And the magic there is because Asus has invented a new material called ceruleum. That's why it's light. Number 3, best bang for buck specs. You get 2 to 4 times more RAM and storage capacity compared to MacBook Air. We all know that Apple tax on storage and RAM. Number 4, battery life. And you wouldn't believe it, honestly, I didn't either. This guy beats the MacBook Air on battery life. Let me tell you this much. I charged this at full yesterday. Today, it is 10 to 12 p.m. I've got 33% battery remaining, and it tells me roughly around 3.5 hours, maybe left battery. Oh, sorry. 4 hours and 2 minutes. Number 5, ports. You know when you get the MacBook Air, you want to go present something or actually use it, you have to use some dongles because there's only 2 USB Type-C ports. This guy here has HDMI port, USB Type-A port, and the 2 USB-C ports. No dongles needed. Number 6, upgradable storage. Open it up, pop in a newer, bigger SSD. If you know a little bit of DIY, you can completely do that. Number 7, fast face sign-in with Windows Hello. This is the fastest Windows Hello laptop that I've ever seen sign in. So let's see this. I'm opening up this. It looks at me, boom, I'm signed in. Do you see that? That is super, super fast. Number 8, 3 external monitors. This one, only 2. Number 9, OLED display. Now, we're gonna talk about the downsides in a minute, but I'm sure you understand now that this is some serious competition to the MacBook Air because for the same price point, we're getting better battery life, better all of these things that I just mentioned. It's amazing. I wanna say that this is one of the nicest designs I've seen from a Windows laptop. I like the minimalistic design. I like that this looks like an 80s Porsche type of beige. It's very, very, you know, tasty. There is different colors available. There's also a gray version available of this if you want that as well. I'm kind of torn between the gray and this one. I think this is a little bit pushing the envelope a little bit more if you know, a bit flamboyant or something. I like that this Asus Zenbook nicely put in the front in here, and in the lighting, different lighting, it shines really, really nicely. You've got nicely rounded edges and the whole laptop just is super, super light. When we open this laptop up, this is where things get also really, really interesting because in terms of the keyboard, I am really enjoying the keyboard typing experience. This compared to the MacBook Air feels very, very shallow travel and very clicky and very kind of thin. You're hitting the hard metal. This is a little bit more soft and spongy. I'm really enjoying this keyboard. It's backlit. You've got all sorts of quick buttons on the top there, including an emoji button. If you hit that, boom, it brings up emojis so you can actually just search for an emoji straight away. But if you're in Windows, bear in mind, if you go Windows and full stop, it also does the same thing. So what about the usability? Because this price point, this is the most important thing, usability. And this is where this guy absolutely shines. It is fantastic to use, and I think this is for people who do a lot of browser-based workflows. If you do Microsoft Office, Copilot, using AI, this is a fantastic laptop for you because it is amazing. This is what confuses me the absolute most. When I ran some benchmarks on this, the single core and multi-core score, just not impressive. And compared to the MacBook Air, MacBook M4 is just faster. The single core, we're getting close to double the score. Multi-core, maybe 30–40% faster. And I was like, this is not impressive until I started using this. And I was like, surely there's something wrong with the actual benchmark, because whenever I'm trying to use this, it is snappy as anything. I can't explain this to you. And this is the weird part where I'm like, on paper, it does look slow, but when I'm using this, I've got no complaints. In fact, if I was using this or super expensive Asus Zenbook Duo, which is pretty much double the price and offers you a lot more specs, Intel Core Ultra 9, say like, I can't tell you the difference which one is faster. I think this one sometimes looks faster. And all the other features, when we're talking about video calls, the picture quality and audio quality is really, really good. I mean, when it comes to laptops, it's pretty much as good as it gets. There's nothing that I can tell you that's bad or whatever, but it's just absolutely amazing. There are some interesting features here as well. Portrait lighting. There's background effects. I can blur it, everything, creative filters. I can go animated, watercolored. That's interesting if you want to use AI for that. By the way, if you're doing that, the interesting thing is it does use the NPU in this rather than the CPU or the GPU to give you the best power efficiency on a laptop. Now, that being said, one of the biggest selling factors for the MacBook Air is there's no fans. It's just quiet. Here's the thing. Whenever I've used this laptop, I've tried to use it for photo editing. In fact, it does a great job. When using the Adobe Creative Cloud, the Photoshop is native to the Windows ARM. Oh, did I mention Windows ARM? So if you do get this one, because it's a Snapdragon platform, it's not the x86 platform. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically just a little bit of a different version of Windows. You don't have your AMD or Intel CPU platform for Windows. This is ARM platform, which basically means it's a little bit of a lighter version of this, but apparently, according to the data, over 90% of the apps and data that gets used on ARM are now native. But Adobe Photoshop is one of those things that is native. I tried using it. Honestly, I was surprised. In fact, I edited it over Wi-Fi that connected to my server in here. So I wasn't even editing local footage on this, which would actually be a lot faster because I'm utilizing the storage inside the device. It pulled over Wi-Fi 6E to the server. The files were all there and I edited in there and I had a fantastic time. Then moving on to Lightroom Classic, that's where things are a little bit, is this gonna work? Because when trying to install this, it actually said that, you know, this is an Intel-based version and uses something called translation to get it from Intel to the ARM platform, basically. And I was a little bit skeptical, apart from it just worked really well. I didn't have any issues. I was surprised. So if you want to do some light photo editing with it, it's okay. Video editing, pretty much the same. But this is not the performance model for you. I don't think this is, if you want to do any creative work, I've got to hand it to the Apple M4. If you want to do video, photo editing, if you put them head to head, the MacBook Air is a lot better. Let's get that out of the way. If you want to get it, pick it up. There's links in the description below where you should be getting it cheaper than what Apple offers for you. If you don't believe, go check out the links. On the other hand, if you're doing a lot of browser-based documents and stuff like that, I think this is a better option for you. It is lighter, it lasts longer, it's got all the ports you need if you want to present something. You do look very stylish and sleek when using this. So honestly, MacBook Air killer, I can see where we're coming from. Also, this is packed full of AI. And I know this kind of raises a bit of a reaction perhaps in you. AI, oh, please don't start talking about that. Honestly, Copilot Plus, 45 tops, blah, 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 all the AI stuff that you can do in it. Wow, you can do that basically. All sorts of things that you can use AI in there. Let's talk about the downsides or some of the things that you're probably not going to be getting. But before I go into that, this is just around $1,000. In fact, right now it's on a sale. I think this is $850, something like that. Go check out if this sale is still on. For that price point, I can't expect everything, but regardless, I gotta tell you some of the downsides. Now, the screen, even though being OLED, it is 1080p. What that means is when you first get the device, the scaling looks like a bit of a grandpa phone. Whoa, that's big. And when I turn the scaling down to get a little bit more stuff on the screen, suddenly things don't look as sharp. My Google Gmail and some of the browser base start to look a little bit odd because it doesn't have enough pixels because it's only 1080p. But interestingly, I've been so used to the highest resolution screens that actually I got over it quite fast, and it isn't an issue, but I had to mention this anyway. Secondly, speakers. I think you can use them. They're fantastic. They're down-firing speakers that come right in the front in here, just this little girl and this little girl. It doesn't feel as clear as MacBook Air. If that is important to you, obviously MacBook is the option for you. And thirdly, I already mentioned that before, that's the performance. The performance of the M1 compared to this one is just better. If you want to do video editing, anything else, if that's what it is. The thing is, when you're using them side by side, apart from the high-end creative focus tasks of video and photo editing, that's where you start to see that actually, I don't mind saving some money and having more storage, saving all my documents, files and things what I need in this laptop, syncing them up with my Google Drive or OneDrive or whatever. You have internal storage to do that. 256 gigabytes, it's ridiculous. If you want to match the storage, this MacBook starts to look so stupidly expensive, then you realize that's better. And if you want, just pop a higher one in there, 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte, go for it. Now, for the conclusion, which one should you be getting? And honestly, I'll probably confuse you even more because you thought you were convinced with the MacBook Air and now with this one. And honestly, I'm kind of in the same boat. When using this, it's just really good. And I like that it's so light. It just works. And whenever using and watching movies, for example, you're really going to start to appreciate the OLED screen. It's just beautiful. And then secondly, most laptops just die in terms of battery life. And to get that much battery life from this, it's amazing. And they use some clever AI to actually reduce the battery drainage for you. So for example, it knows when you're looking away and when you're moving away from the laptop, it starts to just turn the laptop screen off, dim the screen, and when you come back, it can just redo that. All that being said, is this laptop impressive MacBook Air killer? I think I've said it. And if you're wondering if Asus sponsored this video, then can I tell you, no. Asus doesn't know what I'm saying. Asus doesn't know what's happening over here. Neither does Apple. It's my own thoughts. That's it. If you want to pick it up, go check it out in the video description below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.